WOVU LP Cleveland.
We need to stop making issues out of black and white. Let's concentrate on right and wrong.
And now, our voices today.
Why are we led by our pride?
Welcome to Our Voices Today, right here on Burton Belcar Community Radio. This is your beloved unicorn of the land, DJ Black Unicorn, aka Uni, in your ear on this wonderful Friday, Junior. It is Thursday, March 21st, 10 a.m. right now, and it is cold. It is cold here in Cleveland today. I don't know where this cold front came from, and I don't appreciate it, but it's here. And again, we're in Cleveland. We already know what it is. It's okay. It's all right. Just grab your gloves. I hope you didn't put them up yet. I really hope you didn't. I almost put all my winter stuff up, and I was like, okay, I'm in Cleveland. Let me not. And so I'm glad I did it. Right now it's 27 degrees. It's partly cloudy. It's pretty much going to stay that way, but at least we're not going to get any freezing rain or snow, supposedly. But again, this is Cleveland. We'll see. It's supposed to rain a little bit tomorrow, so it might come a little early. Just be prepared, because this is Cleveland. And you already know, each and every third Thursday of the month, we have a lovely conversation with Legal Aid Society of Greater Cleveland. And for those of you out there who may not be familiar, haven't heard the previous conversations for whatever reason, Legal Aid's mission is to secure justice, equity, and access to opportunity for and with people who have low incomes through passionate legal representation and advocacy. Look, any legal services you need, you can receive from Legal Aid at zero cost. These are civil situations. I'm not talking federal. If you got a case that you might legal aid can't help you there, buddy. But anything civil, legal aid can definitely help you out. And you could always visit their website at lasclev.org. That's lasclev.org. And today, I have Mr. Matt Alden live in the studio with me, who has worked at Legal Aid Society of Greater Cleveland since October 2023. So he's brand new, but he's been in the game for some time, over 20 years. As a senior attorney in the Economic Justice Law Group, Matt works with clients experiencing employment and debt issues. He grew up in Westerville, Ohio, and served in the Gulf War with the Ohio Air National Guard. So thank you for your service as well, sir. Sure. He had aspired to be a pro boxer and had one professional fight, but he realized he needed to choose another career path. He graduated from CSU, Cleveland State University, that is, College of Law, and has practiced law for over 20 years here in Cleveland, although he has tried cases from San Jose, California to Washington, D.C. And welcome to Our Voices Today and to WOVU. Matt, how are you today?
Thanks. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good. I'm super excited to have you live in the studio here with us and pretty much to talk about you and all about, credit and bankruptcy.
Right.
Oh, right. Goodness. Before we get there, though, I do have a couple questions just about yourself. Again, thank you for your service.
Sure. Thank you.
What made you not want to box anymore?
It was one and done. I lost that fight, and I realized I probably needed to find something else to do to make a living.
I totally understand.
It's a great experience, so I loved it.
Okay. So I'm into I guess MMA, UFC.
Okay.
I roll with my friends at the gym, but I haven't been in any professional fights or anything of that nature. I'm not pressed to get into it because it's always someone newer, younger, faster, quicker, stronger coming into the game, and I'm already a seasoned lady. So I was like, I like to do it for fun, just to keep me fit.
Absolutely, it's a great way to stay in shape.
Yes, great way to stay in shape and to get your aggression out as well.
Right.
Yes. Hit the bag a little bit if you mad.
Exactly.
So let's talk about credit. And for
Okay.
those who, have zero idea, never even filed taxes, because those people are all here. They are definitely out here, don't know anything about taxes, don't know anything about their credit score, don't know anything about when it means to be financially sound and financially literate.
Right.
Because a lot of us in our community, that is, Matt, just simply don't know. We
Okay.
didn't have, we couldn't afford to even take the time to learn about these things half the time. And now that we are in a place and space where we have so much information right at our fingertips, to me, again, there is still no excuse, but you only know from your level of experience. That's
Right.
why we're having these
It happens.
conversations.
Exactly.
Exactly. Let people know. So what is credit?
So when we're talking about credit, we're talking about credit scores, which is a score that was developed by a company called Fair Isaac. It basically rates a person on their credit risk. So how likely are you, if you borrow money, if somebody lends you money, how likely are you to be able to pay it back? And the higher the score that you have, the better credit that you have. And where that impacts you is you get a better interest rate. If your interest rate is better, you're going to be paying less money back to borrow, to buy that car, to buy that house, to buy furniture, to get a student loan for whatever reason it is that you have to borrow money.
Wow. Okay. So there's 3 types of credit bureaus.
Correct.
Let's talk about the difference between the 3 and what scores they provide to individuals.
Okay, so the 3 major bureaus are Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. There's a couple smaller ones, but those are the main ones that people would probably be dealing with. And they pretty much all use the same method of coming up with your credit score. And what the credit reporting bureaus do is they keep lists of all the debt that you've had for up to 10 years. So if I have a credit card, if I have a car loan, Equifax, Experian, TransUnion, they're going to keep a record of that. And the person or the company that I borrow money from, they're going to report back to the credit bureaus if I'm making the payments on a regular basis, if I've ever missed a payment, and what the balance is. And that's called your credit report.
Okay. So between the 3 main bureaus that provide you with a credit score, who do institutes and not organizations, but businesses that you are doing, like if I'm going to buy a car, would they look at my trans report, Experian? Which one should I be most concerned about?
So you want to be generally concerned with all 3 of them, because if I go to get a car loan, I go to the dealership, I look at the car, and they're going to ask permission to pull my credit reports, and they're going to pull all 3 of them.
So they look at all 3.
Right.
Okay. So why are credit scores so important?
Right, because the better score that you have, you're going to pay less. Your interest rate is going to be better when you're borrowing money to buy a car, to buy a house, or a credit card, or whatever it is that you need to do.
So
and the lower your interest rate, then the less you're going to pay back over the life of that loan. So if you have a 5-year car loan and you can get a better credit score, might drop your interest rate down to maybe 10% or even less on that. And that helps you because then you repay less money over time.
And we're talking about APR rates kind of, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
For those in the back that don't know what that means, can you explain?
Yeah, it's your annual percentage rate. It's what your annual interest rate is for it's the cost to get that loan. It's the interest that you're going to pay on that loan.
And the importance that we are stressing for that rate being low, because if it's high, you can possibly pay just as much as you're borrowing back.
Correct. That's absolutely right. You could pay more in interest than you're borrowing on the original loan. And that's especially true if you have, sometimes people are, in a hard situation for money. They get a payday loan or a short-term loan. Those interest rates can be as much as 300% sometimes. So if you borrow $1,000, you're basically paying $3,000 or even more back to get that money.
Ooh.
So yeah, that's where interest rates can really hurt you sometimes.
That sounds very predatory, though.
Yeah, it is.
If you know I
is.
can't afford, I'm obviously struggling, I'm borrowing money,
Right.
and then you hit me with that high of an APR rate.
Yep.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about that predatory factor when it comes to like buy here, pay here laws.
It could be, yeah.
Those loans, the pay week loans. Is that what they call?
Payday loans. Yeah, they're short-term, very high-interest loans. There's a loophole in Ohio law that allows them to charge just extremely high interest rates. So, and they do on a regular basis. So
what is the best way for people to avoid predatory loan?
It's just making sure you understand what the interest rate is and asking them, look, if I'm borrowing $1,000 from you, how much am I going to, what's the total amount that I'm going to have to pay back and when am I going to have to pay it? And if they tell you, well, it's like $3,000 to get $1,000, if you're hard up, sometimes you don't have any other choice, but that might cause you to say, maybe there's something else I can do. I can borrow money from somebody else or get this problem solved another way. Yes,
because at that point they are really targeting your desperation.
Yeah. Yeah, they're taking advantage of you.
Yes,
exactly.
Yes. So how can someone dispute things on their credit report?
Right. So the 3 credit bureaus have to give you a free copy of your credit report one time per year. And there's a website you can go to download them. It's called annualcreditreport.com. And it's free. If you go to another site and they say, oh, you got to pay $5, then you're not on the right website. But you can download your report. You can go through it. If you find something that's inaccurate, like they're saying you missed a payment or they're saying that you took out a loan that you never took out, you can write to them and say, here's what's incorrect on my report, and then they have 30 days to investigate it and then get back to you with what they're going to do, if they're going to change it, correct it, or what.
Are we writing the company or the bureau itself?
Yeah, you want to send it to the credit bureaus, and each of them on their websites, they'll have the address where you can mail the dispute, and you want to send it to the company that's reporting the incorrect information. The credit bureaus all they do is they gather information from banks and, from KeyBank and from Ford Motor Credit and from MasterCard and Discover, and then they put it on your report. So if it's inaccurate, they don't really have the credit bureaus don't have a way to independently verify it. So what they'll do is if I say, hey, I've been making my payments back to KeyBank on this car loan that I have, and they're reporting incorrect information, I want to send it to KeyBank and to the credit bureaus. And then the credit bureaus will reach out to KeyBank and say, hey, you're reporting this wrong on Matt's credit. And then KeyBank will either write back and say, no, it's correct, or we fixed it, or whatever.
Okay. And to be clear, disputing, how long does that take?
It's usually a pretty quick process. They've got armies of people that all they do is handle credit disputes. So and by law they've got a certain amount of time. I can't remember off the top of my head, but they do have a certain amount of time. They've got to turn those around. If they don't fix it, then and you're sure that what's there is incorrect, then you've got a claim you can bring in state court or federal court, and most lawyers will take that on a contingent fee basis, so you won't even have to shell out any money to get it started.
Ooh,
so that's a powerful incentive for the credit bureaus to make sure that they're getting the information correct, because they don't want to get sued. So
Yeah, that is I do have a question pertaining to that. How do the bureaus make their money?
I'm sorry?
How do the bureaus make their money?
They charge a fee to the credit providers. So that's how they get it, yeah.
Okay. Because, they're not doing this for free.
Right, exactly.
They're not collecting all this data just to be kind and say, hey, this is what you need to do for yourself to better your credit.
Right.
It's a business.
Exactly.
Profit.
Exactly. So they're in an information providing business. Yeah.
Okay. So how can someone increase their credit score?
So the best way to do it is, sometimes people think, well, I haven't borrowed money from anybody, so my credit's probably really good. And this is kind of counterintuitive, but if you don't borrow money, you don't have a way to establish credit and get a score. So if you want to increase it, and you don't have any credit from anybody, then one thing you can do is like get a credit card and then pay it off in full every month when it comes in. If your credit's bad, then you just want to make sure that you start paying everything on time and paying in the correct amounts. And it can take a while, but eventually your score is going to increase.
So when it comes to like using your credit card to increase your credit score, can you avoid the APR rate on the credit card by paying that bill early?
Yes. Or at least paying it on time.
At least
That's
on
right.
time.
Yeah.
So once you pass the due date, that's when the interest hit.
Exactly. Exactly. And that can balloon up on you very, very quickly.
Yes. Credit card hack. Hope you heard it.
Yeah.
Don't go anywhere. You are listening to Our Voices Today right here on WOVU 95.9 FM. This is Uni having a great conversation with Mr. Matt Alden from the Legal Aid Society right here on 95.9. Don't go anywhere. Letting you know all about credit and what you need to know.
Stand up, my people. Stand for something in your life. Stand up, my people.
Join WOVU and our friends Anthem Insurance and Make Them Know Your Name Foundation at the 4th Annual Bunny Hop. That's right, WOVU 95.9 FM will be invading the Slavic Village neighborhood, bringing all the music, all the fun vibes, and of course some hot popcorn. And you already know we will not be coming empty-handed. We have some amazing prizes to hand out this Saturday from noon to 3 p.m. Bring your kiddies for all the fun, all the free candy, and their chance to win their very own hoverboard, bikes for all ages, remote control cars, scooters, toys and games, and rollerblades, and so much more. There'll be vendors all up and down the streets in Slavic Village, and tons of giveaways. That's this Saturday, March 23rd from noon to 3 p.m. right on Fleet Avenue from East 50th to East 61st Street. Don't miss out on all the fun. The 4th Annual Bunny Hop is presented by Community Yahoo, Slavic Village, Anthem Insurance, Make Them Know Your Name Foundation, and WOVU 95.9 FM. Our Voices United, Burton Belcar Community Radio.
I saw the shine.
March is Women's History Month, and there's no better time to celebrate the accomplishments of iconic women who shaped our history. So many amazing artists, actors, pilots, poets, athletes, and female visionaries have paved the way for generations of women to succeed. Educator, activists, and feminists Nanny Helen Burroughs once said, "What every woman who straightens out need is not her appearance changed, but her mind changed." With that being said, I would like to encourage my ladies to continue to be great. Never doubt that you are valuable, powerful, and deserving. Keep
Stand up, my people. Stand for something in your life. Stand up, my people. How will we ever know?
Welcome back to Our Voices Today, right here on WOVU 95.9 FM with your beloved unicorn of the land, DJ Black Unicorn, aka Uni. Shout out to Kev bringing in more bikes for this Saturday's Bunny Hop. Going down from 12 to 3 right inside the Slavic Village neighborhood. I want to see you, and your neighbors. So make sure you tell them and all of their kitties. Because, dude, we have a hallway full of bikes. A hallway full of scooters, hoverboards, games, rollerblades. And I don't want to keep them here. So please, show up, show out, get yourself or your kitty, because honestly, some of these bikes are for all ages. So if you got a teenager, hey, bring them. They can get a bike too. I want to see you this Saturday, 12 to 3, Slavic Village neighborhood. We'll be giving away so much candy, so much popcorn. It's going to be such a great time, such great vibes. And if you are just tuning in, I'm having a great conversation with Mr. Matt Alden from the Legal Aid Society of Greater Cleveland. We're talking all things credit. We're talking all things debt. We're talking bankruptcy. And before the break, we mentioned a little bit about a credit card hack, how to avoid that APR rate when you are trying to build up your credit and you obtain a credit card. You can always avoid those APR rates and that interest by paying before the due date, just in case you didn't hear it or you only caught half of it before the break. But let's hop right back into it, Mr. Alden.
Sure.
What are reputable credit report companies? Well, you mentioned the three main ones. So when it comes to those three main ones, those are the only ones we really need to worry about, right?
Yeah, there are some smaller specialty ones that specialize in like leasing apartments and stuff like that. But for most people, the three main ones that they want to monitor their credit score and their credit reports with each year are TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. Those are the main ones.
Thank you. So you hear a lot about debt consolidation, right? And whether you're getting a debt consolidated loan or you are using a third-party company to consolidate your debt so you could just pay one, flat rate per month to everyone you owe a debt to. But are these credit repair and debt settlement companies legit?
A lot of them aren't, unfortunately. And the reason why is if you're doing debt settlement, what you're basically doing is you're not paying your credit cards because that's the only type of debt you can usually do it with. You can't do it with a house payment or a car payment because if you do that, they'll either come get the car or they'll file to foreclose on your house. So those companies, debt settlement companies, normally focus in on credit card debt. And what they do is they'll tell you, stop paying on all your credit cards and start sending us as much money as you can each month. Once we get a certain pile of money built up, a certain amount, then we'll reach out to all of your credit cards and we'll try and settle them for less than the full balance one by one. The problem is it's like herding cats. If you've got 6 credit cards that you owe money on, you're banking that all 6 of them are going to be patient and they're going to wait. And normally what happens is at least one of them says, we're not getting paid. We're upset about that. They file suit against you, and then you've paid all that money into the debt settlement program for nothing because it's not going to work.
Wow.
So you either wind up having to settle the debt on your own through the legal system, or sometimes it's better off just to go ahead and file for bankruptcy. But that's why those debt settlement programs, they rarely work.
And
so
these are things you can find out yourself, right? Like if your debt is sold, which I definitely want to circle back around to selling of debt to third-party companies as well. But before we get there, before it even gets to that point where your debt is being sold to a third-party company, you can reach out to that company that you owe and ask, hey, I don't have what I owe you. I don't have, like, say it's $5,000, just throw it out there. But I do have $2,500. Will you settle for that? And they'll either say yes or no, or they'll give you a different number,
right?
However that go. So what does the process look like for that, for individuals who is in that situation and who does not want to deal with any of those settlement companies, just calling? How do they find out even the information? Like,
right. So you just call the number. Usually on your account statement, there's a number where you can call if you have any questions about your account. That's where you could start. Or you could write them a letter and say, I can't afford it. I've got $2,500 now, and I could pay it within 30 days. They're going to want you to propose something like you mentioned. It's better off just to go to them with a proposal. They can accept it or they can turn it down. It's up to them. They're probably going to want to know why. They'll be thinking, is it job loss? Did you have a medical issue? Was there a divorce? What was the major issue that caused you not to be able to pay? And you got to be ready to answer that. And sometimes they want to see documentation. They might want to see, something showing that you're on unemployment or you're just getting Social Security or whatever. So it's hit or miss, because they don't have to negotiate with you. They can insist on getting paid back in full if they want to. But as you pointed out, there's no downside to just, reaching out to them and seeing what they might be willing to do.
Thank you. So before the TikTok ban, just joking, but I was on TikTok and I learned something new about credit. And so can you explain if this is factual or not?
Okay.
So the video was explaining that it is technically illegal for a company to sell your debt to another company for collection.
It's not.
That's what I was like, what?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
It's
you.
perfectly legal.
Perfectly legal.
Yeah. Yep. So if I owe you money, you can take that amount that I owe you and you can sell it to whoever you want. And then that person has the right, even though they didn't originally lend me the money, they have whoever you sell it to would have the right to collect the full balance from me. And there's companies out there. There's Midland Funding, LVNV, the Calvary. What they do is they buy defaulted credit card debt for pennies on the dollar. So if I owe $5,000 on a credit card bill, Midland might pay $50 for it. And then they'll file suit against me and just get as much money from me as they can. But Midland, so if I owe you $5,000, you sell that debt to Midland. Midland pays you $50 and you're like, well, $50 is better than zero because Matt wasn't responding back to me. I've tried calling him. He won't pay. And you just want to get something out of it. Midland can sue me for the entire $50,000 or $5,000, even though they only bought it from you for $50. So that's completely legal.
Thank you.
Sure.
And I just wanted to make a point, especially about the internet and TikTok and receiving misinformation from these places and spaces, because people, you cannot just you can't just watch a video and be like, oh, okay, this is accurate. Like, you have to do further research once you hear something. Because as soon as I heard that, I was like, that just doesn't sound right.
Right.
I mean, maybe, but it just, as many loopholes as they give these companies and bureaus and all of these entities, why would they stop at selling a debt to a third party? I just don't see that happening. So again, do your own research. When should someone file bankruptcy? And let's talk about bankruptcy in general, because a lot of times people think like, oh, I'm at a certain level of debt, I can just file bankruptcy and get a clean slate. And then they find out they don't even have enough debt for bankruptcy.
Right.
So let's talk about that.
Sure. So there's a lot of myths out there about bankruptcy. The main causes of it are usually it's unpaid medical bills that you can't afford because, you got a helicopter ride from the car accident you were in. Helicopter company wants $30,000 and, then you owe $20,000 to the emergency room and you find out your health insurance isn't going to cover it. Or it's divorce or job loss. Those are the three main reasons in order, roughly. So if you have $5,000 or more in credit card debt, you want to start looking into, and you can't pay it back, then you want to start looking into filing for bankruptcy. A lot of people think, should I file for bankruptcy, Matt? I'll lose my house, I'll lose my car, I'll lose my furniture, and the answer is you don't. So even if you're making a mortgage payment and you're making a car payment, the lenders don't want you to give up the house. They want you to keep making the payments, and the bankruptcy court can't take anything that you're making payments on. So if you're making payments on a house or a car, bankruptcy court can't take those and sell them. Usually you come out of bankruptcy, you're going to see a real increase in your credit score. It was usually tanked before because you were having financial problems. Right. You file for bankruptcy, you go through that process, you come out on the other end, you have the same income and you have a lot less debt. So,
how long does the process take usually?
So there's two types of bankruptcy. There's a Chapter 7. That's the really short one. That process usually runs, that case is usually going to be open for about 90 days from the date it's filed till the day it closes out. That's the one where you take the debt that you can't afford, crumple those bills up, toss them in a trash can, you're done. The other one is what I call a court supervised repayment plan, and that's a Chapter 13 bankruptcy. That's where you have regular income and you're behind on a house payment or a car payment, and you just need time to get caught up. It can last anywhere from 3 years to 5 years, and it gives you a maximum of 5 years to get caught up. So that's another pretty valuable tool too that people can use.
Wow. So it won't ruin anyone's credit for like ever and ever and ever. Right?
It won't make it any worse, and it only stays on your credit report for up to 10 years, the fact that you filed bankruptcy. Then it drops off, and it's not pulling down your score anymore. And generally, if you're having financial problems already, like if I've got 4 credit cards I'm not even making the payments on anymore, and I'm behind on my car payment because I lost my job or I'm getting divorced, my credit's already tanked anyway. A bankruptcy's not going to make it any worse.
You mentioned credit reporting after 10 years. We're going to take a quick break. After this quick break, I want to go into that because there's other alternatives once that 10-year mark hit, right?
Alternatives how?
We'll talk about it after this break. Don't go anywhere. WOVU 95.9 FM. You are listening to Our Voices today, having a great conversation with Matt Alden of the Legal Aid Society. Don't go anywhere. WOVU.
Stand up, my people.
Girl, let's go. What site are you on?
Girl, I'm filling out this Project Noir 2024 survey quickly. Apologies, I'm almost done.
What is that?
It's a survey where I can tell my experience here in Cleveland and Northeast Ohio. They're finding out if anything has changed for Black women since Cleveland was ranked the worst place in America for Black women in 2020. Do you remember that?
Oh, yes, I definitely do. That's great that they're asking us, the Black women of Northeast Ohio, if anything has improved or not.
Right, and I definitely wanted to make sure I share my experience within these classrooms, these doctor's office, and definitely at work.
Wait, where do I go? I want to make sure I fill out the Project Noir survey too.
Girl, you can visit www.projectnoircle.com. That's www.projectnoircle.com. It'll only take about 15 minutes, but you gotta hurry. We have to unite and share our experience before April 30th. And be sure to follow @WorkEnlightened on Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn, and share this important project using hashtag Project Noir CLE or hashtag Project Noir 2024.
Oh, I got it right here. ProjectNoirCLE.com. I see you can also email hello@enlightened-solutions.com if you have any questions. I'm so glad this is available for us. Together we can make a meaningful impact here in Cleveland and Northeast Ohio for Black women.
Girl, exactly.
I'm going to make sure I do my survey before April 30th. Thanks for letting me know. Now come on, let's go.
Project Noir survey is brought to you by Enlightened Solutions in WOVU 95.9 FM. Our Voices United, a Burton Bell Carr community radio station.
Kind, humble, eclectic, optimist. These words describe Timothy Lee Tramble Jr., aka TJ, according to everyone who knew him, friended him, laughed with him, and fed off his energy. 5 years ago, in his honor, the Timothy L. Tramble Jr. TJ Memorial Scholarship Fund was established to provide financial assistance to disadvantaged individuals enrolled at Tri-C, Cleveland State University, Central State University, or at any historically Black college or university. With education at the forefront, this fund helps award recipients pursue a college degree and set up a more stable financial future. It aims to elevate individuals to a standing where they too can give back to others to help them reach their full potential. Recipients will be awarded up to $2,000 per scholarship for a single year, but must apply by Saturday, March 30th. For more information, including criteria and how to apply, visit unitedblackfund.org. That is unitedblackfund.org. This message is brought to you by the Timothy L. Tramble Jr. TJ Memorial Scholarship Fund, the United Black Fund of Greater Cleveland, and WOVU 95.9 FM, Our Voices United, a Burton Bell Carr community radio station.
It's time to make the short story longer. Yeah. Stand up, my people. Stand for something in your life. Stand up, my people. Yeah. How will we ever know if we were never taught or told to never stop fighting? Don't ever quit just 'cause the rich get richer and the poor don't get. Excuse me, but I get so mad. Where could we have been? What could we have had? Yeah, it's time to lose those shackles and break those chains.
Welcome back to Our Voices Today, right here on Burton Bell Car Community Radio with Uni. And I'm having a great conversation with Mr. Matt Alden of the Legal Aid Society, and we are talking on things debt related. Excuse me, specifically credit debt. Before the break, we were talking about the 3 different credit bureaus. We talked about bankruptcy, to different chapters, chapter 17, chapter 13, what you should do, how long it will take, so on and so forth, even with disputing. And I mentioned that 10-year mark with your debt.
Right.
And how you can go about removing them off of your credit report. So let's talk about the different options people have once 10 years hit, because to my understanding, and please correct me, because you are the specialist, if 10 years hit, right, and the debt is still on my report, I have the option to write the bureau company saying, hey, it's been 10 years. I'm disputing this, drop it off my report. Is that the language I want to use, or is that even correct?
Well, normally they just stop reporting it on their own. It's kind of rare that they would keep it on past 10 years because the law doesn't allow them to do that. But you're correct. If they make a mistake, you would want to write them and say, hey, I've got this car loan on here or this defaulted credit card. It's 13 years old. You guys are still reporting it. Please take it off my credit reports and then send me a revised copy showing that you've taken it off. But that's exactly what you would want to do. Yeah.
And that's 10 years, because I've heard 7 years before. Is that a different marker for different things when it comes to your credit?
They can keep reporting it. It's between 7 to 10 years, depending on a bunch of different factors. So we just usually tell people it's a maximum of 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes you might see it drop off a little bit faster, but yeah, 10's the outside limit. So
when it comes to credit individuals that say, hey, I'll help you build your credit, what should people look out for when they are dealing with these third-party companies, individuals, sole proprietorships, people who are out here helping people build their credit, but, might be a little shysty?
Yeah, you want to understand exactly what it is or what they think that they can do for you. Some of those companies, as you're saying, are very scammy. They take your money and they say, oh, you're in default to Discover Card. Well, we'll write them and tell them that you dispute it, and then they've got to drop it off, and that's not the way it works. So just because I can't just automatically dispute something, because they're not going to take it off if it's accurate. The legal standard is that they have to report information on your credit report with reasonable accuracy. So it doesn't mean it's got to be 100% right every single time, although you can ask them to correct it, but you can't just simply write them and say, I owe this money, I can't pay it anymore, so I'm disputing it and I want to take it off. So that's what you want to find out from the company that you're hiring, the person that you're hiring. What are you paying them? How much you're going to have to pay them? And why is it that what they're saying is legal? What's their basis, that they can legally ask the credit reporting agency to get that debt off your reports?
Wow. So when people are coming to the Legal Aid Society with credit issues, bankruptcy issues, so on and so forth, what are you seeing a trend most of for people wanting help from legal aid?
Yeah, usually it runs the entire gamut. So it could be, post-COVID now, once COVID hit, all of the banks and the credit card companies were like, we're not foreclosing on anybody. We're not suing people for debt. They really backed off everything. And most people were in a pretty good situation because they were getting the stimulus payments. They were getting unemployment. So, and they weren't getting sued if they owed money. So it's starting to ramp back up a little bit, but it's everything from I'm not able to pay the car payment, or I can't afford this credit card anymore. It runs the whole gamut. So medical bills, everything.
Wow. So, example, medical bills. Is there a way to get medical bills completely erased way before the 10-year mark? I mean, it's medical. Like, come on. Is there a way?
I mean, there's a lot of different things. You know, they're really starting to back off reporting medical debt. And a lot of times what you can do is reach out to them, to the accounts payable department, like the accounting part of the hospital, and tell them, look, you know, my insurance isn't covering this and I have no way to pay it. You know, can we work something out here? And most of the time they will. The hospitals are usually pretty good about that.
How about the ambulance?
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing where you can reach out to them and try and see if you can get it covered. You know, a lot of times that's just fighting with your insurance company to say, look, you know, I have these benefits and I need you guys to pay it. And then if they won't, if they can point you in your contract where they say, well, we don't cover that service, then you're going to have to work it out with the provider. So
I said that in specific because I'll tell you this story. It's
Okay.
kind of embarrassing, but I'll still say it. So I had a panic attack and I had to pull over to the side of the road. And
Okay.
it was like one of my first. So I didn't know what was happening and I just was scared.
Sure.
And my chest was so tight. I called 911. The ambulance came. And they ended up not transporting me to the VA, saying that they couldn't take me to the VA. When I arrived to the VA, they said, oh, they wouldn't bring you? That's crazy. They were supposed to bring you. What city were you in? I'm going to have a conversation with that city. Okay, cool, whatever. I get a bill in the mail for $400, and they didn't even take me anywhere.
Oh, jeez.
I said, you didn't even take me anywhere.
Yeah, just for showing up.
Just
yeah,
for
that's
showing
crazy.
up.
Yeah.
I refuse to pay it. Not gonna lie, I refuse. That's crazy. $400 and you didn't even take me where I needed to go.
That's definitely one where you could say, look, I might pay you 50 or something, but I'm not paying the whole 400.
Okay.
So that's for sure.
I feel a little better doing that.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for that
No
advice.
problem.
See, Legal Aid Society giving you
That's
advice every I definitely appreciate that because I refuse. That's insane. That's so insane. So how can legal aid help someone struggling in this area in general?
Yeah, so we can help you figure out what your best option is, whether it's if you get sued, we represent people when they get sued. We can try and negotiate a payment plan, or if your finances need it and we think it's going to be better for you, then we can help you do a Chapter 7 bankruptcy. So a lot of times, if you've got between $5,000 and $10,000 in debt, no realistic way to pay it back, then we're going to probably recommend that you look at doing a bankruptcy, because if you've got more than one creditor, again, it's like trying to herd cats, get them all going the same direction and doing the same thing. It's very impossible to do that. So most of the time, bankruptcy is the best option because it just eliminates the debt and then you go on your way.
So for people who simply do not have enough debt to file bankruptcy, what would be their next step?
It would be working out a payment plan. What I always tell people is if you're having money problems, try and send whatever it is that you can to your creditors, okay? Even if it's just $10. Don't tape $1 to a postcard and send it in to them. If you can send them something, $10, $20, whatever it is, they will not go as aggressively for the collection actions on you. When they really get aggressive, if there's no money coming in and you haven't called in to talk to them, exactly, if there's no communication, that's when they're going to ratchet up. They're going to start reporting it to the credit bureaus. They might sell the debt, or they might put it into collections or hire a lawyer to sue you. So try and send them something and then reach out to them and see what they might be willing to do for you.
What if it's a civil debt? Like I got sued for leaving an apartment early or something of that nature.
Yeah. We can help with that too, because we would try and either work something out with the landlord on a repayment plan if you have the ability to repay it. If you dispute it and they've got a judgment against you already, like you moved out, and then because the problem with what the landlords do a lot of times is you move out because you can't afford it anymore, or they're not fixing things the way that you need to. They file a lawsuit and they serve it at the address where you just left. And if your mail's not being forwarded, you may never know that you got sued, and then 3 years later you realize you've got a judgment against you. So we can help with that. Sometimes we can get those judgments set aside. A lot of times we can't, and then we would look at whether you're going to try and repay it back or maybe do a bankruptcy just to wipe it clean. It depends on how much you owe.
It's so much to debt.
Yeah.
It's just so much to debt. It's just credit knowledge in general. Because, okay, so a random question when it comes to debt. What is the quickest, like the absolute quickest way to build your credit?
Is to borrow money, okay, either on a credit card or car loan, or buying furniture on installment or something like that, and then paying that debt off.
Furniture and installment.
Yeah,
I never thought about that, because they usually, I think, like the top ones is credit card, obviously, or car.
Right.
But they never mentioned, rent-to centers, spaces and spaces such as that where you can rent.
You can rent to own
furniture, rent to own things that you actually will need, and you're also building your credit at the same time.
Right. I mean, you're better off. It's kind of a trade-off. The better way is not to do rent to own, because a lot of times the quality is not that good. Then if you have a dispute with them, they're threatening to come take your living room furniture out, and you're like, well, where am I going to sit? What am I going to do? So when it comes to that type of thing, usually you're better off trying to save for it, or maybe borrowing it from a family member or a friend or something, or putting it on a credit card. But if you're wanting to build your credit score, you have to have that regularity of repaying your debts. So that's your cell phone, that's your utility service, your car note, if you're buying a car, your house payment, that type of stuff.
And if you're trying to build your credit and you notice, hey, this isn't on my report, and it should be, because I'm paying it every month, and I want that reflection to show on my report so my score can be where it needs to be. Do I call the bureau or the company to make sure they are reporting to the bureau?
Yeah, you would have to call the company that you're dealing with, because you can't force them. So if I borrow money from a bank, I can't force the bank to report those payments to the credit bureaus. I can ask them, but I can't force them to. They're not required by law to do it. So what I would want to do is would want to be sure that I'm keeping a list of all the payments that I've made and when I made the payments, so that if somebody says, well, we pulled your credit and you don't have any, your score's pretty low, you can say to them, well, yeah, but look at this other debt that I have, and here's all the payments I've made. Here's an account statement showing that I've made all the payments on time.
So when it comes to, AI and all these new apps saying, hey, we'll evaluate everything that you do in your wallet for you, and report to these bureaus that you are paying these things for you, i.e. your rent, your bills, so on and so forth. Are these apps safe? Is this a safe thing to do?
I wouldn't personally do it, because I don't want to put all that information out to a third party. In terms of your social security number and your date of birth and that type of information, you really want as few people to have that as possible, and only people that you absolutely trust. Because once that gets out there, anybody can use it, and then it could create more problems. So I don't generally want to be giving account numbers out to somebody unless, I know I'm dealing directly with a lender or with the credit bureau. So I don't know. It's not something I would do. But
I feel the same way. But a lot of these kids, and not even, excuse me, let me correct myself. A lot of people, are going with the AI shift and with the convenience, because that's what it's all about at the end of the day, that convenience. Which is, I roll my eyes when I say that, because we are addicted to convenience at our fingertips at every corner. So when it comes to like these apps and these companies saying, hey, we can report these things to the bureau for you, but we need all your information.
Right.
It
Right.
sounds so scary.
It does. Yeah. Because again, if that company goes out of business or if they get hacked or something, your information's gone, and you're gonna have a hard time.
And they're not
stopping-
talking about it.
Yeah.
They're not talking about all these hacks that have taken place this year.
Yeah.
I think I saw something that said, and don't quote me, but I know the number is huge, and this is a roundabout number, but it is in the billions of scams, of excuse me, I'm trying to think of the proper technical word for information technology when they are coming in and hacking and taking all of the money out of these accounts.
Yeah.
I believe it was a hospital that got hit.
Yep.
It was banks.
Target got hit. The store got hit with that.
Yes.
So yeah, those they call them data breaches, and those.
Thank you. I couldn't think of it. Thank
no
you.
Problem. No charge for that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, those happen quite a bit, and the best thing you can do is be very, very careful with who you give your personal information out to.
Yes. Don't go anywhere. You are listening to Our Voices Today right here on WOVU 95.9 FM. When we come back, we're going to be discussing all about these upcoming brief advice clinics that the legal aid is providing to you. And you. And anybody else who needs it. If you have a civil issue, you definitely want to make sure you find yourself at one of these upcoming clinics. Don't go anywhere.
How will we ever know if we were never taught or told to never stop fighting? Don't ever quit just 'cause the rich get richer and the poor don't get. Excuse me.
Is your family in need of a new medical provider? Call the Village of Healing Center, the solution for quality Black health care. Cuyahoga County's first and only Black-led and operated medical center. All Black providers caring for Black families. Schedule primary care, chronic disease management, mental health, OBGYN, and pediatric care appointments at 216-815-4325. Offering men, women, and children the quality health care our families deserve. Call the Village of Healing Center today at 216-815-4325. That's 216-815-4325. This message has been brought to you by the Village of Healing Center and WOVU 95.9 FM. Our Voices United, Burton Bell Carr Community Radio.
The hip to the hip, the hip, the hopper, you don't stop, rock it to the bang.
Join WOVU and our friends Anthem Insurance and Make Them Know Your Name Foundation at the 4th Annual Bunny Hop. That's right, WOVU 95.9 FM will be invading the Slavic Village neighborhood, bringing all the music, all the fun vibes, and of course some hot popcorn. And you already know we will not be coming empty-handed. We have some amazing prizes to hand out this Saturday from noon to 3 p.m. Bring your kiddies for all the fun, all the free candy, and their chance to win their very own hoverboard, bikes for all ages, remote control cars, scooters, toys and games, and rollerblades, and so much more. There'll be vendors all up and down the streets in Slavic Village, and tons of giveaways. That's this Saturday, March 23rd from noon to 3 p.m. right on Fleet Avenue from East 50th to East 61st Street. Don't miss out on all the fun. The 4th Annual Bunny Hop is presented by Community Yahoo, Slavic Village, Anthem Insurance, Make Them Know Your Name Foundation, and WOVU 95.9 FM. Our Voices United, Burton Bell Carr Community Radio.
Are you struggling with an issue that impacts your basic needs, such as housing, safety, or finances? The Legal Aid Society of Cleveland may be able to help. They offer free legal services to people facing eviction, landlord disputes, debt problems, and more. Visit Legal Aid's website at www.lasclev.org to apply for help, or call 216-687-1900.
Short story longer, yeah. Stand
Welcome back to Our Voices today, right here on Burton Bell Car Community Radio with your beloved unicorn of the land, DJ Black Unicorn, aka Uni. And I've been having a great conversation, learning so much about debt and bankruptcy from Mr. Matt Alden from the Legal Aid Society. And before the break, I said we will tell you all about these upcoming clinics. Are you excited for these clinics, Matt?
Yes.
Are you going to be there?
I'm hoping to be at the one on Saturday. I got to try and get a couple things switched around, but yeah, I'm going to try and make that one.
Yes. So before you come to the Bunny Hop and hop around with us and get your free popcorn and your awesome vibes and maybe a bike or a scooter or a hoverboard or whatever you end up winning, make sure you stop at the upcoming Brief Advice Clinic from Legal Aid Society of Greater Cleveland, right at the Fatima Family Center, right on Lexington Ave from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. You will have time to discuss all of your civil issues with a very professional and knowledgeable lawyer from the Legal Aid Society. So when people show up to these clinics, what can they expect?
What they can expect is we'll sit down with you, bring whatever documents. If you've got paperwork that relates to your issue, please try and bring as much of that as you can. And then we'll sit down with you, find out what the problem is, and try and get you steered in the right direction, whether it's an issue that we can handle for you or maybe one of our volunteer lawyers, or if it's an area that, is a specialty type of area, we'll at least give you information on the next steps that you can take to get that problem solved.
Yes. And then we have another one coming up next month, Saturday, April 13th from 10 to 11 a.m. again at the People Library, Cleveland Public Library, Memorial Nottingham campus. That's 17109 Lakeshore Boulevard as well. And then April 20th, Westside Catholic Center, 3135 Lorraine Ave, 10 to 11 a.m. as well. Again, but you catch that first one this Saturday, 10 to 11 a.m. at Fatima Family Center, 6600 Lexington Ave. On the way out, I would like you, Mr. Matt, to just give a full synopsis of Legal Aid Society and what it is that your objective is for the people of Cleveland.
Yeah, what we want to do is we want to level the playing field and increase access to justice for people who need help. So if you're having a legal issue that's in the civil area, whether it's your job, whether it's a landlord-tenant issue, whether it's a family law matter like a divorce or child care or custody or something like that, that's what we're here to help. So give us a call. You can apply online. So if you're, not available during the day because you got to work, you got other stuff, you can take a couple minutes, go online, apply that way. You can call our toll-free hotline. We'll screen you to make sure that we're able to provide services to you, and then we'll get you steered in the right direction. If it's not an area that we handle, we know tons of lawyers locally, and we'll either get you out to one of our volunteers or to somebody that can take care of the problem. So
yes, thank you. Again, that website is lasclev.org. That's lasclev.org. Phone number is 216-586-3190. That's 216-586-3190. And again, you can always visit lasclev.org, click events, and then click on clinics for all the upcoming clinics coming up. So if you can't make it this Saturday, again, just go to the website and see for all the clinics that's coming up and see which one you can make it to. Because you want to take care of whatever legal issue you have. It's not going to go away, okay? It's just, unfortunately, it's just not how it works. It's not going to evaporate.
They usually get worse with time, so you want to try and jump on them right away.
Exactly. What do you got left to leave on the table for our listening audience today?
I think that's about it.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
I thoroughly enjoyed our conversation. I definitely learned a lot. I hope our listening audience picked up everything that you dropped on the table for them. And again, if you have any questions, you can call the Legal Aid Society or visit the website. That's 216-586-3190. or lasclev.org. Don't go anywhere. We got the ATM show coming up next. The All Things Money coming up at 11 o'clock with the Phoebe Foundation. My man Russ Hassan and Miss Williams. Don't go anywhere. Make sure you stick and stay because, you know, we got you.
How will we ever know if we were never taught or told to never stop fighting? Don't ever quit just cause the rich get richer and the poor don't get. Excuse me, but I get so mad.
The iFilm 216 is here to provide you an opportunity to convert those extant skills to use in the media production business with a 1-year below-the-line apprenticeship program. Learn everything you'll need to know to break into the film and television industry. The iFilm 216 program is a workforce development initiative for the film and television industry, helping you gain access to learn all about grip and lighting, camera and sound, set developing and building, even hair and makeup, and so much more. iFilm 216's mission is to empower underserved minorities in the art of cinema, fostering diversity and amplifying marginalized voices to inspire change. This message is brought to you by iFilm216.com and WOVU 95.9 FM. Our Voices United, a Burton Bell Carr community radio station.
Okay, everybody, that's a wrap.